OK， 我们现在继续下去哈。这个是 Chap2 the second half. I am very pleased to meet you, said Milo, not sure whether or not he was pleased at all. I think I'm lost. Can you help me, please? Don't say think, said one sitting on his shoe, for the one on his shoulder had fallen asleep. It's against the law. And he yawned and fell off to sleep too. No one is allowed to think in the doldrums, continued a third, beginning to doze off. And as each one spoke, he fell off to sleep, and another picked up the conversation with hardly any interruption. 只要一个讲到一句话，他就掉下去睡着了。可是另外一个总是有办法继续接下去讲，而且 without any interruption， 就是根本没有任何间断。Don't you have a rule book? It's local ordinance 1753889J. 你们有那个规则手册吗？那是一个我们当地的法规法令1753889J. Milo quickly pulled the rule book from his pocket, opened to the page, and read, Ordinance 1753889J. It shall be unlawful, illegal, and unethical to think of thinking, surmise, presume, reason, meditate, or speculate while in the doldrums. Anyone breaking this law shall be punished severely. 这个就是我刚刚跟你们说的，他就是用各式各样的方式把各种字来教会给小朋友，这些基本上都是同义字。It shall be unlawful, illegal, and unethical. Unethical 是没有道德的，所以也是非法的意思之一。To 干嘛呢 ？To think， 你根本不能思考，或者是思考你要思考。Think of thinking, surmise, presume, reason， 这三个都是思考的不同的讲法。presume 就是预测，然后 surmise 有一点点猜测、设想。reason 你就去合理的来评估，合理的来这个试试看它是不是对的。meditate 沉思、沉想，或者是这个字也是打坐的意思。or speculate 猜测。只要是在 doldrums， 你就想都不要想，什么都不要想。That's a ridiculous law, said Milo, quite indignantly. Everybody thinks. Indignant 就是很生气、很气愤、义愤填膺。每个人都要想啊，哪有人没有想的 ？We don't, shouted the RWAJJ031 all at once. 大家这么几十个 RWAJJ031 一起说，我们不想啊 ，We don't. And most of the time you don't, said a yellow one sitting in a daffodil. That's why you are here. You weren't thinking, and you weren't paying attention either. People who don't pay attention often get stuck in the doldrums. And with that, he toppled out of the flower and fell snoring into the grass. 所以这句话就是我说的，就很妙。People who don't pay attention often get stuck in the doldrums. Milo couldn't help laughing at the little creature's strange behavior, even though he knew it might be rude. 他事实上很想笑这些小小的小动物，这样子很奇怪。Stop that at once, ordered the plaid one, clinging to his stocking. Laughing is against the law. Don't you have a rule book? It's local ordinance 574381W. Opening the book again, Milo found ordinance 574381W. In the doldrums, laughter is frowned upon, and smiling is permitted only on alternate Thursdays. Violators shall be dealt with most harshly. 你隔周的礼拜四才能够微笑。笑的话呢是 frowned upon， 这个是皱眉头，就是这根本不可以做的事情。那么 violators， 因为你违规了 ，violate 违规的人呢 shall be dealt with， 会被处理，会被最严厉的来处理。Well, if you can't laugh or think, what can you do? Asked Milo. Anything as long as it's nothing, and everything as long as it isn't anything, explained another. There is lots to do. We have a very busy schedule. At 8 o'clock we get up, and then we spend from 8 to 9 daydreaming. From 9 to 9:30 we take our early mid-morning nap. From 9:30 to 10:30 we dawdle and delay. From 10:30 to 11:30 we take our late early morning nap. 刚刚这个 dawdle and doodle and delay 就是也都是混时间的意思。From 11:30 to 12 we bide our time and then eat lunch. 我们故意浪费时间，故意等待，然后我们吃午餐。From 1 to 2 we linger and loiter. 我们就是逗留，然后浪费时间。From 2 to 2:30 we take our early afternoon nap. From 2:30 to 3:30 we put off for tomorrow what we could have done today. 2点半到3点半，我们故意把今天可以做的事情延到明天去做。Put off till tomorrow what we could have done today. From 3:30 to 4 we take our early late afternoon nap. From 4 to 5 we loaf and lounge until dinner. From 6 to 7 we dilly-dally. From 7 to 8 we take our early evening nap. And then for an hour before we go to bed at 9 we waste time. As you can see, that leaves almost no time for brooding, lagging, plotting, or procrastinating. 这个字一定要会啊 procrastinate. 偷懒，拖延，就是不愿意做。And if we stop to think or laugh, we would never get nothing done. You mean you would never get anything done, corrected Milo. We don't want to get anything done, snapped another angrily. 马上就很快的反击他，很生气的。We want to get nothing done. 我们什么都不想做。And we can do that without your help. You see, continued another in a more conciliatory tone. Conciliatory, 很愿意和解的，就是很友善的，比较友善的声音。It's really quite strenuous doing nothing all day, so once a week we take a holiday and go nowhere, which was just where we were going when you came along. Would you care to join us? Strenuous 就是很费劲的，什么都不做是很费劲的，而且呢，我们一个礼拜一次，我们休息一下，然后哪里都不去。I might as well, thought Milo. That's where I seem to be That's where I seem to be going anyway. 他们就邀请他要不要去。Tell me, he yawned, for he felt ready for a nap now himself. Does everyone here do nothing? Everyone but the terrible watchdog, said the two of them, shuddering in chorus. He is always sniffing around to see that nobody wastes time. A most unpleasant character. 只有一个人不浪费时间，就是那个很恐怖的 watchdog。watchdog 就是一个看守东西的一个狗狗。只有他一天到晚闻来闻去的，走来走去的，确定没有人在浪费时间。The watchdog, said Milo quizzically. The watchdog, shouted another, fainting from fright, for racing down the road, barking furiously and kicking up a great cloud of dust, was the very dog of whom they had been speaking. 就是那个 watchdog 吓昏了，尖叫大叫一声就吓昏了，因为为什么呢？ For racing down the road, barking furiously， 叫得很大声，而且跑来灰尘洋溢，就是那一只不浪费时间的 watchdog. Run, wake up, run, here he comes. The watchdog Great shouts filled the air as the lethargians scattered in all directions and soon disappeared entirely. "Ruff!" exclaimed the watchdog as he dashed up to the car, loudly puffing and panting. 喘气, puffing and panting. Milo's eyes opened wide, for there in front of him, 电话来了. For there in front of him was a large dog with a perfectly normal head, 4 feet, and a tail, and a body of a loudly ticking alarm clock. "What are you doing here?" growled the watchdog. "Just killing time," replied Milo apologetically. "You see, killing time," roared the dog, so furiously that his alarm went off. "It's bad." 刚刚电话来了，被切断了，继续。"Killing time," roared the dog, so furious that his alarm went off. "It's bad enough wasting time without killing it," and he shuddered at the thought. 这个狗狗就说：“哎呀，浪费时间已经很糟糕了，你居然还要把它杀掉。” "Why are you in the doldrums anyway? Don't you have anywhere to go?" "I was on my way to Dictionopolis when I got stuck here," explained Milo. "Can you help me?" "Help you? You must help yourself," the dog replied, carefully winding himself with his left hind leg. "I suppose you know why you got stuck?" Winding 就是给他自己上发条，用他的后面的后脚给他自己上发条。"I guess I just wasn't thinking," said Milo. "Precisely," shouted the dog as his alarm went off again. "Now you know what you must do." "I'm afraid I don't," admitted Milo, feeling quite stupid. "Well," continued the watchdog impatiently, Since you got here by not thinking, it seems reasonable to expect that in order to get out, you must start thinking." And with that, he hopped into the car. "Do you mind if I get in? I love automobile rides." Milo began to think as hard as he could, which was very difficult since he wasn't used to it. He thought of birds that swim and fish that fly. He thought of yesterday's lunch and tomorrow's dinner. He thought of words that began with J and numbers that end in 3. And as he thought, the wheels began to turn. "We're moving! We're moving!" he shouted happily. "Keep thinking," scolded the watchdog. The little car started to go faster and faster as Milo's brain whirled with activity. And down the road they went. In a few moments, they were out of the doldrums and back on the main highway. All the colors had returned to their original brightness. And as they raced along the road, Milo continued to think of all sorts of things, of the many detours and wrong turns that were so easy to take, of how fine it was to be moving along, and most of all, of how much could be accomplished with just a little thought. And the dog, his nose in the wind, just sat back, watchfully ticking. 这个地方他又教了你一个就是 double meaning 的这个一小段哈。你只要花脑筋想事情，你就可以完成很多很多事情。这就是我为什么喜欢这本书的地方，每个地方他都偷偷提醒你。Okay, that's the end of chapter 2. Let's pick up next time.